broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV Dancing with the Stars. On this Veterans Day, we want to thank all of the servicemen for getting out there and representing our country and fighting for our freedom. We sure appreciate that. Men and women, let's just put it that way. Yes. I'm Kristyn Burtt, and we have got a great night. Everyone's in studio, and we have probably our number one most requested guest every single season here, too. So let's go around the room and introduce everyone. Anna Trebunskaya.
Hi, everybody. Happy Veterans Day.
Across from the table, Suri Serano.
Hello. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
All right, then I'm going to go to the couch. Now, we're calling like Jake being a total gentleman and sitting in the hot seat today. Jake Dupree.
It's me, Jake Dupree.
With some really good bangs.
Always banging. Yes. America.
And the woman that all of you have requested, she is back this season. We are so grateful for you to be in studio. Shirley Ballas.
Yes, and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you. I did not serve. Has anyone served?
No.
None of us.
I always serve.
You always serve.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
All right. Well, we had a big night last night with Dancing with the Stars. We had the trios. We had America's Choice. We had some voting that was kind of all over the map. And I was in studio last night.
Yes, you were. I was about to say that.
Did anyone see me video bombing? I video bombed.
I saw
Tom
it.
Bergeron.
I saw it. I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
It was adorable.
I see it.
It's on Instagram if you want to see it.
She posted it.
Yeah.
I just want to say it was not intentional. I just was kind of excited. He's from my neighborhood in Massachusetts, and I was like, hey. And then I didn't realize I was like on camera.
Yes. I did not buy that for a second. You work in front of the camera. You know.
I didn't realize it was a wide shot like that. It looked a little bit more narrow with the camera they were using. But I love him, and he knows that. I think he's the best host in the biz. So we just want to give a shout out. I was not making fun of him. I was like, I love you. All right, let's go to the first dances of the night. We're going to jump right into this because Shirley's on fire. That's all I have to say. She's already on fire, so I want her to talk as much as possible. Alfonso and Whitney kick off the night with the foxtrot. Or ain't that a kick in the head? Shirley, go ahead.
Well, I love the music. I mean, I think Alfonso's been a front runner all season. He seems to get major scores. He's done some fabulous performances where I feel like he's got deserved marks. And then last week, maybe perhaps his cha-cha, that got all 10s, but maybe it wasn't the best he'd done. But overall, I think he brings it week in and week out. Love the music. Thought Whitney's done an amazing job. So I thought he did a good number yesterday.
He really did. Anna, what did you think about this number?
I mean, it was a perfect combo. It was perfect music. It was perfect outfit for him.
Yeah.
She looked beautiful. Was perfect mix of a little bit of stuff in hold and a little bit of jazzy stuff, old Hollywood. So it was a really clever routine. I thought the marks were well deserved. I was quite impressed with him actually leading her and supporting her and carrying himself in a very sort of proper ballroom way. So that was like, woohoo, go.
He talked about his confidence in hold too, because he was like, I didn't feel it before, and he's like, he's like, I feel like I settled into it this time. Jake?
The male celebrities have such a hard time because they truly have to learn to lead, and I think he really did an awesome job doing that. But this was honestly one of my favorite dances of his because I felt like it combined his personality, like his hip-hoppy flair that they always kind of do, but the technique I thought was just like so on point. I don't know, I was just blown away by that. I actually watched it like 3 times.
Suri, do you think anyone can beat them this season?
Hot seat there.
Lots is a lot, right?
Well, yes, because of the way the show is structured and formatted. Should anybody beat them? I don't know. That's up for debate. I mean, his level is so high, his abilities.
Well, he came in high, didn't he, from week one?
So high.
Right.
Yes.
And he's maintained it. So it's difficult if you take somebody like Sadie, who's done no dancing, who has to start as a beginner and then come all the way up to the level that she's done.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a little bit, it's hard to judge, really, isn't it? You've got the beginner moving up to here. You've got the professional, so to speak, dancer who started here and who's remained there. there.
Right.
I mean, Alfonso was in a commercial with Michael Jackson.
That's
that's amazing.
And he was on Broadway as a kid and tap dance kid. And I heard they're doing tap for their freestyle.
Yeah.
I also read an article
I'll die.
recently.
That's awesome.
I read an article though in the last few days that he said he didn't really have much training at all.
Really?
Well, in terms of I guess in terms of like a partner dance, I don't think that he has any experience.
Partner,
But-
smartner. You've learned how to do choreography. You know how to count, and you
That's right.
know what rhythm is.
You're a dancer.
And here we go.
You
And
can
you
move
know,
to music.
rehearsal studio etiquette, like how to learn, all of that. There's so
Exactly.
many different things with
But I
that.
have to say he's a very charming man.
He
And I think
is.
that helps. I mean, on, off, he's the same. On the floor, off the floor, meet him here, meet him there.
He's
just a very
funny.
nice person.
And
And
the
you-
Fresh Prince cast was there last
And
night.
you root for him too
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he seems very lovely. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah,
He is.
and that's kind of been nice to see. Like it's sweet. Everyone loves it. Like I literally, this was me in the audience. I'm like, "Where's the baby? Where's the baby?" Because they always show their wife and baby after, and they're sure enough they were like, "Yay!" Because
Yeah.
they only bring the baby in for like that one shot because it's noisy in there, but it's so
Yeah.
cute. 3 9s and a 10 altogether for a score of 37. I don't think anyone. This was probably one of the scores we won't argue tonight.
No.
There's some more.
Yes.
There's some more coming. All right, Tommy and Peta. And this was kind of an interesting start because we didn't have an opening number last night, but we
Yes.
found out that Tommy was safe. And I turned to my boyfriend who went with me as my date last night, and I was like, that means Leah's going home.
Wow.
I said that right away.
Yeah.
And he goes, are you sure about that? And I'm like, I am. She's
Yeah.
done. And she must feel it. I don't know if she felt it, but
I don't think she felt it.
You don't think so?
I think she's such a very I've met her and she's a very confident person in herself. So I don't think for a minute she thought she was
going home. Oh, I just
Why was she in jeopardy last week?
No, I think
she
she's
wasn't
been in jeopardy.
I felt like after that Bonnie and Clyde number last week
the way
She's
they-
been like this.
yeah.
Yes.
Jake and
I called it last week. I said
Yeah.
that she would probably go home
Yeah.
Wow.
way before. I think Tommy is going to probably be in the finals too. I'll say it.
I've got a funny feeling. I think he's going to the final.
And I'm gonna be so happy about it because I think
me
he's so
too.
cute. You root for him, like he's super sweet and just like him shaking it all the time. I'm just like, I love you.
Sexy as hell. I say it
love
every
you.
time, but he had the loudest applause and cheers in studio out of anyone last night, and that's what I said. Mark my words. I'm like, there's the finale in his future. There is like
Right.
some like crazy freestyle that Pete's gonna have to start concocting right now because
They're gonna have Snoop Dogg on there probably. I hope like it's just gonna be like this whole high situation.
big ganja thing.
I love that Peta admitted last night that she thought they were going to be gone week 1 or 2. That was with her interview with Aaron. I mean, that's just being honest, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a pro, when you get
Very
somebody,
true.
you kind of like think, oh.
Yeah, he's 75 years old. Like, what do you? 6. Here we go. A year of fun. Plus, minus, no big deal. What do we think of
Viennese
his
waltz.
dancing?
Yeah, let's do it. Well,
Sorry
talk
about
about his
that.
Viennese waltz.
Well,
'Cause we love his personality.
There were a couple of basic right turn and left turn, mixed with some very simple choreography that he handled and that she helped him through. I'm talking about Peta being a strong girl. And talking about, you said, the male celebrities have to learn how to lead. Not always.
Pete's done a lot of
They
leading this
should
season.
learn. They should
Shoulda,
learn,
woulda.
yeah.
I don't think Tommy is really leading. But he is holding his own.
Yeah.
He's doing what he
I'll say
has to do. He's bringing on his personality. He's positive every single week. He's inspirational. And I think that's why he's going so far, because we look at him and like, if I can be that kind of person at 76, gee, I'll be so happy. So, good job.
Yeah.
All right, Shirley, what'd you think?
76, one of my favourites, and I have to say I love the way Peta, she'll be in frame like this and then she'll hook it up when the judges are looking and give him a hitch on the left side to get his arms up.
Oh, we see.
And you can see she's manoeuvring him around, but his footwork was quite nice.
Yes.
Like you said, he did open right turns. I just thought he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
liked him so much.
we don't talk a lot of technique when it comes to Tommy because we're just like all obsessed with his
But
personality.
his technique was quite reasonable, I found. No
Yeah.
worse than anyone else's.
And we didn't really see any effects from that injury he had in the calf, right?
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Good for
He's
him.
so much fun to watch.
What do you think, Suri?
I agree with all of you. He's so much fun to watch, and I find myself sitting back and just smiling the entire time
know.
watching him.
The whole studio is like that with him.
You just want to give him a cuddle.
Yeah.
Say it's going to be okay.
Yeah, he walked into the audience because on the side that I was sitting and say hi to his wife, and people started like swarming that had snuck in their cameras and everything. Like, I want a picture. I want a picture. I mean, he's the guy to get a selfie with.
Yeah.
7877 for score 29. Len gave him an 8.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey,
pretty good.
That's great. Artem and Leah doing the samba. And, you know, I think that this was one of her better weeks. I know. Okay. We got to go to Shirley because she just looked down. I don't know if it was caught on camera.
Everybody's holding their tongue waiting. They can't wait to say something.
I think Artem is delightful, and I think he's done an amazing job with everything he's done. I just think the guy is very, very smart. But
and shirtless.
I thought the dress was too short. I thought it was kind of vulgar. It didn't give me a feeling of sensuality. It was more sexual. So, and it was a little bit more, let's give you some more. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I just was not for me at all. I didn't like the technique. I didn't like all the bent legs. I think when you've got not the correct leg actions, cover it up. She didn't. She wore the shortest skirt possible, so you could see, from a dancer's point of view,
everything.
You could see everything. And I almost get that the personality is that it's a bit pushed in your face, like, you know, even the cocking the leg up on the side. Did you see that, Anna, before it started? So, I mean, I know the judges seem to tend towards flocking towards sensuality as against good, clean, whatever.
What are we talking about?
No, it wasn't my cup of tea at all.
Thank you, Miss Shirley Ballas, because I was watching this yesterday and I was kind of going,
No.
ooh, it was uncomfortable to watch. I mean,
agree.
I get it. She's 53, is she? And she looks fantastic. But look, you're still 53.
Make it age appropriate.
Make it
Cover
age
up.
appropriate.
If it's sags and bags, cover it.
And that's just not who she is. Like
Exactly.
like in the essence of a person.
And
that's not
she's
who she
like,
is.
and I get that they wanted her to be a cat, and then the cougar, and the whole joking
So
about
put
it.
an all-in-one on then.
Put a skirt on. Like, keep the same material.
Fringe it out.
But put a skirt
When in
on.
doubt,
Put some
fringe it out.
longer fringe. And I agree, if your leg action isn't 100% on point, especially in like towards the end of the competition, you gotta be clever in the costumes, and we've seen it many times, and Shirley can speak probably a whole lecture on costuming and grooming, right? And it's just one of those visual things that I just couldn't get past. And then the face, that was extra and extra and extra, and I'm like, you are an elegant type of dancer, what are you doing? It just looks so put on, extra. Unreal.
Jake's had a lot to say on Leah, so.
I've been saying it the entire season. It's very forced. Like, everything is very forced. This is not who she is. This, like, uber sexual, like, licking her lips and all this stuff. It's just weird. Like, it's just, I don't want to see that. And I think that it's a shame because she is truly an exquisite
When
dancer.
sincerity comes from your heart, doesn't it? You can't be something off the floor that you're not on the floor.
And I think that's what the judges
Need
were
to be.
saying. Maybe Arden was encouraging her to be that way, and I'm like, he doesn't have any control over what her face is doing, like what her body's doing in terms of the performance. Like, he has it in rehearsal, but like he doesn't know what she's gonna do when the camera comes on and everything has to be all fired up. But I don't know. I'm not shocked at all that she went home. I know that a lot of people on our Twitter feeds were
they were
like
shocked, and I'm
blown
like,
up.
really?
I was like, no, I'm not surprised at all, because if you look at Janelle, she came out of the gate being super, super sexual and like sensual and like always all about this fire. But there's a progression that she's made throughout the entire season where it's become a mature thing, and Leah regressed in a way which is strange for an adult woman of that age to do. So it's strange. I don't
Because
know.
it was like confidence, and then it went away. And when I interviewed her, she talked a lot about feeling old, and I think that happens as women age, especially in Hollywood. And I said to her, I've said this on the show before, but I was like, I kind of broke my reporter mold and was like, you look amazing, and we're all talking about it, and you're gorgeous, and like, don't think that you're competing against 17-year-old Sadie or 18-year-old Bethany or.
And she's she's a natural dancer as compared to any of those girls on the show.
Yeah. So that was weird. The one thing I noticed just seeing her in person, she's so wispy and tiny, very ballet, very up, and seeing it live and versus watching on the TV screen, I was like, oh yeah, I just wanted her to get a little bit more down, and we see that in the trio later on. But I'm like, she is wispy and tiny and petite, and
she can shift. She's a good mover. I mean, she's trained.
But I wanted to like get in plie a little bit more sometimes.
I agree with you that those, whether Artem did it, whether she chose to do it. I mean, I think the professionals have a huge say over at the end of the day, what costumes and facial expressions and things like that, they can push that. But I mean, I'm 54 and I have to do things and lecture and go and put on costumes, but it's always appropriate for you're not 18 anymore, so it's appropriate, and people can still love something that's got quality in it.
Absolutely.
So I don't think you need to shove it in people's face.
I've been aligned with Jake these last several weeks, and I was watching last night, and I was so confused by everything that we're talking about. Just confused because I'm like, well, is it her? Is this who she is, or is this put on? Because every week it was getting really old for me because I was very uncomfortable the whole routine watching her. I'm like, with her face and her lips and kind of everything. I'm like, what? And she's somebody I've wanted, as we've talked about, to see kind of elevate and continue to get better and better and better, and I was rooting for, but found her awkward. Not her awkward, but watching it was awkward.
I wonder if she's confused. You know when you're confused in your own head as a dancer, you're not sure maybe what the choreographer wants you to do, and it starts registering in weird ways and manifests itself not only through movement but through the emotion. I wonder if she just didn't have a clear vision of like what was expected.
I don't know, but when it was over and they're running up, the stairs to go get their scores and things, and I was watching, I always watch her, and I mean, she's so excited and happy and, and whatever, so it's like, well, maybe that is who she is, and she's just so excited that that's how it's coming out. Yeah. I don't know.
It really changed. I think the whole thing changed when they had to switch partners, and I think that she saw Artem with Janelle and was like, this hot little ticket is, I don't know if she was trying to emulate that or trying to be that, but that's kind of when it changed a little bit for me.
Right.
Like that whole week was when it all switched.
Because the Contemporary was the week before, right?
And that was stunning. That's who she is. Like that's who she is as a person, and like the essence that people relate to and want to vote for.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that because I said that with Bethany and Mark. I felt like that was the switch for Bethany. Like the light bulb went on.
Yeah. I do want to really quick add, sorry, before, because I know you're going to move on from this couple. After Shirley speaking about her costume, I do agree. When I saw the costume, I love the top part of it.
Yeah.
Right,
it was gorgeous.
It was beautiful.
But I went back and forth the whole routine. I'm like, do I think it's inappropriate or is it okay? And I was like, I did not feel it.
Yeah.
I did not feel the whole thing. Yeah. So I agree with all of you. I'm with all of you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she won't be around for next week, so we can't critique her wardrobe next week. But it was 8-9, so 34 on all of that. Moving on to the next couple, it is Bethany and Derek. Viennese Waltz. One thing I just want to speak about Bethany, because we had a hard time sort of like figuring her out the first few weeks and everything, but when that girl got on the dance floor before, during the commercial break, that girl was focused, like she was in the zone. She was like, I got this. And then she went out there. It was really neat to see. I always like watching like who looks nervous, who looks unsure, who looks really confident, and she was like cool as a cucumber.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's a
I think, she obviously has that TV little thing that she does from her bedroom, which has given her this ultra confidence. So at the beginning, she sort of started off quiet, I felt. And as with anything that Derek does, he manages to bring out the best in anything or anybody, or if I lecture with him or do anything with him, he's like on point. And I just felt that she's doing this little rise now. I thought the dress was beautiful.
Yes.
Thought the choreography was appropriate. She excelled in everything that she did. So I thought he did extremely well yesterday with Bethany. She was cute.
Yes. I just want to add that watching them all night last night, the whole time, all I kept thinking to myself was, and saying out loud, this is Derek's magic. This is the magic of Derek, because look at what he's helped bring out in her. That whole partnership.
Yeah, what do you think?
Gorgeous.
Well, I agree, but I also think it's the magic of Bethany, because it always takes two to tango, and even with a coach,
You have to be receptive to it.
Exactly, with the coach and the student, and you can tell a student 100 times what to do, but if they're not going to do it, there's nothing. You could be the most brilliant coach in the world, and you will fail until they do it.
Right.
So she's the one that does it, and Derek has his ways of pulling it out, but at the end of the day, she's the one that's being vulnerable, which is very difficult, opening her heart, trusting him, because it's, again, very scary, and just kind of stepping into this whole experience and finding herself in it in a whole new way. So I applaud her.
Yeah.
I think she's doing a fantastic job. I like her more and more every single week. And I wish that Viennese Waltz was a little bit longer. It felt super short. I was like, oh, and it's over.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And I was kind of hoping he would leave her at the end.
It took a while to get going, didn't it? Didn't they do something in the aisle or something?
Yeah, they did something in
like 3 sets of 8 or something before it moved.
Right, and I wish, and he was speaking so much about, oh, you know, I'm going to leave you at the end, and then he didn't, and I was like, oh, well, I guess he changed his mind.
Typical guy, Jake.
And I agree at the beginning, there was like a moment, and her shoulders were kind of up, and I was like, oh no, like this is not good. But then as soon as it started going up, she's progressed in such a way that's super fascinating to me. Like I think she's my one to watch right now. Like I really do think so. And the way that she uses her legs and the extension through her arms and through her hands, she didn't have that at the beginning. She really didn't. And I'm so happy, and then we'll talk about the trio later, but I mean she's one to watch because she's peaking at the right moment to like take it all the way to the end.
And she wasn't a character this week too. She's done really well with all the characters, but you know, just being raw and emotional and being yourself is hard. You're showing it in front of millions of people in America.
And to be as young as she is.
She just turned, 19? I just had a birthday, so unbelievable. All 9s for that. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I think she should have gotten a 10. Just a 1, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way all the judging went last night, you probably could have thrown a 10 in there at that point.
We are talking about 9s and 10s.
These are good.
Yeah.
There was nothing lower than 7. So I think we are okay. Yeah. We are okay here.
We just like to throw out a 10 for people sometimes.
I think she deserved at least 1 10. I do.
Oh, next we get to Sadie and Mark doing the jive. I'll just throw out my quick little observation on Sadie, and I told Shirley this. You can't take your eyes off of Sadie. On TV, in person, you're just like, who's that girl? Who's that? I mean, I hope she's ready for it because she's got the charisma. Someone's going to make her a superstar, whether it's ABC giving her a show or somebody else. Yeah. That girl has got it. So let's talk about Mark.
I got to meet her at the very, very beginning of the show, and I have to say, from before the show started, all the way up, she has not changed a bit. Whether we go to church or whether we go to eat, the praying, the just the person, the character. She will not sacrifice one of her morals for anybody else. It's personal to herself. So, like when they did Rumba Week, and I believe Mark said something like, you know, Rumba has got that sensuality, and if you're going to go pretty, then I'm not sure that Carrie Ann and those people will like it. And she said, then so be it.
I love that.
Then so be it. I will take whatever comes. You make me look pretty. You make me look just girly.
And I
nice.
think it's that self-assurance that makes her so magnetic too.
And it also makes it so clear for Mark. There are no double standards. It's like, well, that's the way it's going to be, and so on and so forth. So I thought she needed to work a little bit on a flicky kicky part, but I thought generally overall it's quite a difficult dance to do. I thought she executed it quite well. They've got her hair maybe in front of the music, I felt a little bit at the beginning, but still I think that the way her marks have gone all season, I still think she did a pretty good performance. I mean, they haven't exactly given her a lot of confidence to come back every week to say, okay, you're the superstar. So each week it's that you rebuild yourself back up. And I think she did that yesterday. I think she got out there and she said, okay, today's a different day. Let's see where it goes, and she did a good job, I thought.
Well, let's just throw that out there. Let's throw it on the table, what we can talk about. But they probably have some of the most uneven judging of any of the couples this season.
I'm not sure if it's uneven or just unfair.
How is Mark feeling about this? Because he's doing incredible work. We've praised it each and every week. I mean, it's probably his most creative season.
I think everybody on the show, I mean, as you know, I've worked with most of them on the show, and I said to you earlier, sometimes there's a professional Shirley, and then sometimes there's just a downright mother Shirley. and to stand there and watch Halloween week, and to watch the effort put forth in the clothing, the effort put forth. There's 3 hours he had to sit there to put the makeup on, to get those contact lenses in, which were not easy, to dress Sadie the way he dressed, to do the whole thinking about the little girl with the teddy bear that could come into the little string that pulled and the red dress fell down. Just the set, even if you didn't like the choreography, one had to at least say, well, you know, I admire you for your set. It was a theme week. It was Halloween week. For Len to say something like, well, I just wish you'd get out there and do a Paso Doble. We're on season 19, is it now? Yeah. Do we really want to see one more season of just a twist turn? I don't think so. So I felt really, sitting in the audience, for me, I felt physically sick for them, for Sadie, for Mark. because I was there during the rehearsals the day before. They were excited. We think America's going to love this. This is right on Halloween week. The boys and girls are going to be thrilled. It's a little scary, but it's not too scary. You know, it's got this dress theme. It's got so many different themes. It's the real deal. To see him get 7s, the same as Tommy Chong, and I love Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
I just did not understand that. And I know that there's politics and this and that and the other. You know, they say there isn't, but I'm not so sure. But
There is.
absolutely,
I'll say it.
couldn't be a 7. It couldn't be. She didn't trip. And then Kerry Ann said something about she missed her footing. She didn't miss a footing. I played it back 6 times. I mean, if you're not sure what a twist turn is, Kerry Ann, you need to really have another look again, because that girl did not lose her footing. She didn't lose her footing. She didn't lose. If she did, I'll be the first one to say, you know what, that wasn't very good. Always tell them. Mark, Derek, Val, all the boys, Tony Devillani, all my boys, if they'll come, what did you think? No, tonight wasn't your night, but I'm sorry, that night belonged to them.
And we go through this all the time each season, too, of like what a Tommy Chong 7 looks like versus what a Sadie Robertson 7 looks like. And it's not fair, honestly.
Well, she's been in the bottom 2 or 3 times. She's got the lowest scores, I think, of anybody been. I mean, she's had 1 or 2 good scores. I think Julianne's probably been about the fairest. She kind of, you know, says it as it is, and I found her critiques to be quite interesting.
She's given some really nice constructive criticism to
But
people
for Len to just throw up his arms like this, you know, and then have to come back the following week and say, we do admire your creativity. We do like this, and Mark's face was a little bit, you know, like
what do you
really?
mean? Like,
I mean, what do you want here? You know?
make up your mind.
Well, let's get back to the jive from yesterday. I almost feel like it was strategic what Mark did with the jive. He just stripped
Extremely.
everything off.
Right down.
And it's like, you know what? We've been so creative this whole season, and we showed them we can be. Let's just be all about dancing, and they were. It was a hard routine. She's a tall girl, and for tall girls, it's hard to do the
but
jive.
they say that she's tall. I mean, I teach a lot of tall people, but the one thing about Sadie is she's completely coordinated.
Right.
So you can be 6 feet tall. If you're coordinated, you can dance.
That's
so
true.
this excuse that goes on every single week, well, you're tall and you've got long limbs, and
Well,
the
I
girl
think what
moves coordinated. She's coordinated.
It's like they only have so much time. It's not like they're going to go into full study detail. I mean, you see her. You probably are paying much more attention because you have a personal connection to this.
Not really, because I have a personal connection to all of them on the show.
Yeah.
So, and I've been one that's often said to them, don't like this, don't like that, don't like this.
Wow.
But I just feel at the moment that the girl is coordinated. Is she tall? Absolutely. Have we had tall world champions in the past? Absolutely. You know, so let's not keep giving her a phobia. You're tall and you can't do this and you can't do that, because you can do that. You can do that.
Imagine like Lolo Jones from the first week getting voted off, doing those kicks and flicks. She would never, and they're about the same height and have the same long legs.
I think Lola's
Sadie-
taller.
Even though that's what I'm saying, like Sadie, those retractions, sure they're not like as super sharp as they could be, but
I said
it's
that, I saw that,
it's admirable that she could deliver that, and especially that stripped down dance where it was like, this is just the dance and this is what it is. I was so proud of Mark for doing that for her, because it shows that Sadie can actually dance.
Yeah.
Well, on the Sadie part, I think she's brilliant, and I really enjoyed the routine. But I do want to say, because I am taller, I'm 5'10" and a dancer, so I found I agree with all of your perspectives. I don't disagree. I found I feel like I have to work a little bit harder to stay, you know, to be as quick.
Right.
But in that defense,
You're controlling longer limbs. I mean, like, just the physics of it.
Yeah.
I got short legs, so there ain't much to control. Their scores overall for the jive were 8-9, 8-8. There was a lot of booing on the 8s in the audience. I know that. There's some people out there.
It's a pattern routine. They didn't take 3 8s to get on the floor and do something this and that. They've went on
and marks were in line with their
packed
marks
it.
every week, so it was about right. I think. I mean, it's in line. 7s, 8s is what she normally gets. So
Right.
I don't think
it wasn't a surprise.
I don't think she has any chance of going home though.
Yeah, I
I don't think so
staying.
either.
I think
mean,
she's so staying.
Yeah, I think the Duck Dynasty, they're voting her through big time, and she
People
deserves
love
to.
her.
She deserves.
People just love her. She's so likable. We just talked about all the reasons why we love her and why we like her, and
She takes it all with grace.
And it's exactly, and the fact that the judges are so harsh to them, a little more than to other people. People go behind and they go, no, this is our girl. We're gonna keep her in, and I do feel that she's gonna go all the way. So
I don't know if at 17 I could handle all that criticism the way she has on national TV.
Great.
Well, that's where her faith and family come into play.
Strength,
for
but
sure.
that's good though. I mean, I think that's impressive, and I love that we've got some great 17 and 19 and 20-year-olds, even in Whitney and Lindsay and things like that are good role models.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah, it's
refreshing.
lovely.
I love it. All right, we move on to Janelle and Val doing the quick step on this one. Now, these two were really, I have to say, they were very relaxed most of the show. Janelle has a ton of friends in the audience, and Val was going up and meeting all of them. They weren't I don't know if they were almost too relaxed going into the quick step.
Oh.
It makes me think, because that's something you really have to
I
focus
thought
in
he
on.
did a great job on his quick step.
Right.
I thought
Killer.
It was just a magnificent routine. What was his score for his quick step?
They got 9, 10, 10, 9, but they had that weird little slip in the middle.
He caught his shoe.
He just caught his shoe on his.
But Janelle didn't miss a step. She
Not
got
at
right
all.
back in line with that,
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe the friends in the audience thing, that comfort level, I mean, I thought it showed because there was just an effortlessness that she was just flying around that floor. That was awesome. I was blown away by
He's
her last
also
night.
raised his game, though, Val. I found him this season to be very creative and outside of his normal box, because obviously he's come from the competitive world not so long ago, being second in the world as an amateur. And, when he first started the show, he was in that box. And I really find he's outside of his box now.
Right.
So, and I feel him challenging himself with his contemporaries and all the other things. I think he did a fantastic job.
He's a
and
great
she was
choreographer.
Fabulous
amazing.
choreographer.
Yeah, great dancer, too.
So good. I echo the same statements. Absolutely.
Some fans were upset that they did get the 10 because of that little misstep. Do we care that it wasn't perfect and that?
Well, I'm sorry. It was Val's misstep. She didn't miss a step. And B, it's like you step on your dress. It's that kind of force majeure type of thing. There was an earthquake in the studio, and that's why he slipped. You know what I mean? It's it's not technically something that they did wrong.
I think it's okay that he makes that mistake as long as the rules apply to everybody else the same way.
That's
Wow.
true.
which they never
didn't
do.
talk
which they
about
don't.
it.
Don't ever.
Which they
So
don't.
it's okay for you to do it, but not you.
Yeah.
So I have
Right.
a bit of an issue with that. So
We
if
could
you're
have
a
going to
whole
let
after
that
show
slide
about
on that
them.
person,
That could
you've got to
be-
let it slide on somebody else.
Here's the bottom line. It is a highly produced show. We've said it 1,000
Yes.
times on the show. And interpret that as you will, but it is highly produced. There's lots of hands in the cookie jar doing things like this and eating cookies and putting cookies back. So
Ugh,
that's what's
so
happening.
many germs.
So many germs.
Purell. Sponsored by Purell.
Hashtag germy cookie jar.
Gosh.
I know that's so
That's
funny.
funny.
That says a mom. Who knows? Sticky fingers. So that was the first half of the show of America's Choice and all of that. And
Was it really though America's Choice? I kept questioning.
I think the costumes were, and I think actually America did a good
But
job
there
with
was
the
some
costumes.
voting.
I really liked
I
some of the
see.
costumes. I loved Val's partner. I loved Sadie's little dress that she had, and it was very
So
appropriate.
great.
The only one I wasn't keen on was the little short Sambury thing. But
Yeah, Leah.
her hoo-ha was showing a little bit. I think that's what it was. It needed. So you said it needed more fringe.
And
Her hoo-ha.
when in doubt, French it out.
Cover the
Yeah.
hoo-ha. Yeah,
when
exactly.
you can see your bits and bobs, you
Bits
need to
and
cover
bobs.
them up.
Yes, cover the bits and
Unless you're
bobs.
Whitney.
Unless you're Whitney, then I want to see it all.
Alrighty. Well, before we move on to the trios, which I think were amazing, we do have to remind everyone, thank you for downloading our podcast on iTunes. If you want to rate it, remember it's 5 stars. We sure appreciate it. We certainly love all of your feedback. iTunes, YouTube, and Twitter. We are listening to you, trust me, every week. Thousands
Yes.
of comments.
Lots.
I always watch my phone even on the show, and it's blowing up. So we really appreciate all of your support through all of these seasons with us. And with that, let's move into the trios because we saw some
my gosh.
good dancing in the
so
trios
good.
last night. And we're going to kick it off with what I call the Vibe Tribe: Whitney, Lindsay, and Alfonso.
Yeah.
Vibe Studio, Utah. In case no one's in on the joke, I don't know. Everyone's in on the joke.
Yeah,
but
we got it.
Yeah, I love them. So
It's probably yeah. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
That
paso?
paso was so good.
Striking, creative.
Yeah,
It was one of my favorites. I loved it.
it was good.
yeah. Are we all just going to be like, we loved
Yeah,
it? It was
we
amazing.
loved it.
Whitney should just be applauded for her. She is so innovative as a choreographer, and I think it's awesome to see someone so young be able to handle all of that. I think she is amazing.
have to say also just an observation, because Lindsay was on the show and then she went back to the troupe, but I really also have seen a growth in Lindsay.
Right.
And she
Maturity
has
with
improved
her.
a maturity, a sensuality without a game, because she's a good, clean girl with clean morals and what have you like that. So I just thought, let's not underestimate her in that trio. She brought it yesterday.
Those legs.
Legs 11, and I just thought she was fantastic.
Yes, and if anyone has not seen season 9 of So You Think You Can Dance, go back and watch Lindsay do the paso with Cole. You will not be disappointed. So it is one of the highlights of that season, and you see why Lindsay's such a superstar too. You know, and don't dismiss her because she's in troupe. That all of the troupe is extremely talented, and I think we saw that in the trio. So I think that was awesome.
Point of Alfonso, he was able to handle those young, energetic
bunnies.
That was hot bunnies very, very well, and I think he stood up as a man. You know, he dominated them.
Yeah,
it was hard, but he did it.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention, I was just thinking about this. I like Whitney with an older contestant. I loved her with Drew Carey when they did the switch up. I love her with Alfonso. I even loved her with Michael Waltrip.
It's a good balance.
Yeah,
balance the energy.
And she's a mature she's sexy as hell. So when she's out there, and so maybe with someone like Cody Simpson, who is younger and still in his boy body, you know,
he didn't know how to control them. He didn't know how to control them.
About Whitney, though, she just has that X factor, whatever that X factor is. I don't think it's something she puts on. I think it's just her being.
Right.
I mean, I can sit with her with a little hat having a conversation, and just the way she looks, she just has that X factor. She does.
I did my Whitney hair flip looking at the cameras last week, so she's got it. She's got it. All 10s on that. I don't think anyone's gonna dispute that whatsoever. And then we go to probably the most epic trio I've ever seen, and I was so happy to see it in person. It was Peta and Sharna and Tommy doing the samba on the Chong Airlines.
I'm with you.
Well, I'll go with the Chong Airlines. First of all, it was highly entertaining. Second of all, when you love somebody, it's very difficult to critique them. And he's just a doll. I just want to hug him. But he did a couple of steps in samba. He did a little samba bounce forward and a little samba bounce back, and he did a whisk to the right and a whisk to the left. And let me tell you, it was darn good. It was darn good. Didn't do a lot of samba, but whatever she taught him, I thought, now that is, he started flexed, he popped up and over, he did his little bounce, and I thought, that would do it for me. Well done. I thought it was great.
I was so charmed. Anna.
Again, not so much samba, not more like, booty slapping and making faces into the camera, but adorable faces and
cleverly put
great
together.
Booties. Great booties. I mean, the girls looked fantastic, and it was super, super clever routine. I had no problem with the routine. I think the routine was great, and he did good for what he had. The whole thing afterwards with the whole, just the comments from the judges, and then the Tom, and then in the booth, and I'm like, we just like, it's enough already. Like, it just started to become overly sexual. You know, when you make a joke and you make kind of a cheeky comment that's a little sexual, and then somebody takes it and to another level.
It was
and
hard.
then somebody else picks it up and another level, and you're like, okay, now that becomes a little bit
and
too much.
And that's the point. I had a chat with somebody quite high up in the production.
Right.
When we were just talking about various different things, and he goes, oh, well, it is a family show. I'm like, really?
Really? From all those comments.
Because if it was a family show, then you wouldn't be all that grinding and take your shirt off and shake your titties and shake your booty.
Artem hasn't had a shirt all season.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Artem has no clothing.
Yeah, he had
no clothing budget for Artem.
Well, in the jazz, he had a suit.
For a minute, no. He ripped it off when he got to the sky.
If it's a family show, I think that we can...
Again, exactly. Yes.
Anything to add, Suri, Jake, on Tommy?
I mean, I thought this routine was really smart, because it's like, this is what we want to see him do. Like, I don't want to see him necessarily dance and do like actual steps. Like, I just want to see him have fun and like have these two hot girls like dance around him. I think that that's genius.
He can get away with dirty old man.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that the people that are rooting for him just want to see that. See like him like shaking it and being silly and like slapping feet on the butt. Like, it's just cute.
I think Peter's done an amazing job. I mean, she's just thought she was going to go out week 1 or 2, and she stayed in now all the way. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the final.
I don't
wouldn't
either.
be surprised.
Nope.
And I just think she did an amazing job.
I think she should be really proud of her season.
I loved it. I was totally entertained by it. Got lost in his world for a minute.
I don't even know what to say.
You're a judge. You're like,
it was entertaining, and yes, Jake, that's like what people want to see from him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I had fun, but I if anybody else had done that,
Yes.
we would not be saying the same thing.
No, even if like a Michael Waltrip who had a lot of heart and wanted to be there, we'd be like, no, that was kind of creepy.
But could they carry it off the same way he carried it off? Because even when he got saved, he kind of turned around like he was in disbelief himself.
Like,
and that's
what
just
the
his
heck?
beautiful character in his heart. And I think we're talking about what he is off the floor, everybody's granddad. So I think at one point he walked up to Mark and he goes, it's just a show, buddy. It's just another gig.
He gets it.
You know, he's just... He's just wonderful.
He gets it. He really does get it.
I do want to say, Michael Waltrip was in the studio last night, and I got to tell you, he was in awe of like everyone dancing. He just was so like such a fan. It was kind of fun to see. He was watching Bethany dance at one point, and he was like, oh, like her Viennese waltz. It was just really
That's
sweet.
cool.
It was really. He was right across from me, so I was watching fan reaction. All right, all sevens on that. 28. We go into Leah Artem and Henry doing the paso. I did say no budget for shirts, but this was everyone wanted Henry in their trio.
Yeah.
They fought over Henry, and everybody wants Henry. That's because he can do anything. He's a good build. He's a wonderful person to work with. I just think he's the most popular trio choice.
Yeah, I think so too. He was in studio last week and he had a lot of great things to say about everyone. And off camera too, he just was really positive about everyone. He had like a 15-minute speech on Derek that was like, I wish I could have repeated it all. He asked me not to, but it was like just awesome and sweet and amazing. So,
But about everybody. Just
about
FYI.
everyone, but you know, I think that was just one of those things that you just like. People always think, oh, he hangs out with Tony and Val. Nope, he really genuinely loves everyone.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It's
Nice
true.
guy.
Yeah, what you see is what you get. Well, let's talk about that paso. Shirley.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think she did a great job. I think they did a great job. I liked the choreography. I thought it had some content. The production was quite good.
Yeah.
I thought. Did you think?
I thought everything was good. I liked their outfits and their man thong, I guess that's how they called it.
Back thong.
Back thong. I mean, the guys looked hot. In this dress, to me, she looked age appropriate. And it was still sexy and sensuous, but appropriate and elegant. And I feel that was more of her dance. It was dramatic, but still had this class flavor in it, which this is what I want to see from Leah. And I just wish this flavor was more in the other, like her Argentine tango had that flavor, her contemporary had that flavor. I wish the other dances
It's just unfortunate because when you get something like samba or it is salsa, it's all built on actions, isn't it? I mean, Paso Doble is a walking dance. You don't require any body action.
Yes.
Argentine tango, it's just whether you can flick your knees and stay in that nice line.
Yeah.
When you get those moving rhythm dances, those sensual moves, they've got to be executed with taste, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Can't push it.
Yeah.
Overly push it like fake. You just have to kind of feel it.
Yeah.
And again, that's why samba wasn't so good, and then Paso Doble was good. And it was a good dance for her, so I don't really have much to add.
What did you think about Leah? Because I think she went out on a good note.
I think that who wouldn't want to go out on that note? Like that's an amazing way to leave your legacy on the show. I think, and I think that this is how she was supposed to be dancing the whole time. Like very refined and tasteful. I mean, like that's the word we keep throwing around, but it's true. Like that she needed to be more tasteful in terms of choices and what she was choosing to do on the show. But I'm really happy that she went off on this because
do you feel that she kept saying that, I wanted to do something that would challenge me, something that's different. I wonder if she was experimenting and that was her opportunity to go, can I do this? Would it be okay? And why not? I mean,
I think that when you experiment, you should do it week 1 through week 5 and don't try to reinvent the wheel when they're trying to get into the finals.
Well,
and if you look at Janelle, like she's like her whole thing was about being like sexy and like her and Val, like are they or aren't they? But you've seen the progression of like I can be really sexual and really strong, but I can also be like really subtle and very unique. And with Leah, I think it's more like extremes. Like every week is like I'm really emotional about my father, and then I'm really sexual like this, and it's just there's not a progression that happened naturally.
America gets confused too. Honestly.
It does.
It's confusing. It's really confusing.
And I think, like, last season, I latched a lot onto Candace a lot because I just was like, she said, this is who I am. And she was that all through the season. Even if she was sad, she was still just authentic. And Tommy, same thing. Like, this is who I am. And that's what you do.
Yeah.
Great number. I agree with Jake. It is a good way for her to go out. But I couldn't take my eyes off the boys.
Yeah.
Look at those.
I mean, not just because they're boys, but I couldn't. I'm sorry.
Well, they're so strong.
I mean, yes, obviously they're good-looking guys, and I like both of them, but they're so good. I could not take my eyes off of them.
Well, it was overpowering on someone so tiny.
And it's also to give a celebrity dancer a paso doble, that is a male dance, and give her these two fantastic dancers. It's kind of strategy isn't the best.
Well, it's hard also maybe with their experience of being on the show to unwind it a little bit so she shines a little bit more, you know. So all the boys have been through that at some point, but they kind of find the way where the celebrity shines.
Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen it with other pros too. Yeah. Definitely. All nines though, fantastic scores.
Very good.
Bethany, Derek, and Tony doing Argentine tango, and I loved this trio. And everyone's always like, "How was Tony picked?" and everything. But you have to take a look at who's left and when you're picking and what's going to work with Bethany. And you also have to look at height and things like that. And I'm like, it made sense. And you see when it made sense once you see the choreography.
Right.
I think Tony, for me, Tony's just great. He's what I call Mr. Reliable. You know, he's there, he can do it, he can lift. I remember when he picked Julianne up and threw her and she flew over his head, and he can do almost anything. And I do call him Mr. Reliable. And I adore Derek. And I adore everything he does in his creativity, but somehow it missed the Argentine tango point for me a little bit yesterday.
Ooh, what was it missing?
So it was missing a little bit more enclosed hold, so a little bit swapping partners maybe, and flicks and kicks, and a quick pivot here and a quick pivot there. So the production, the set behind, the outfit and everything. In actual fact, at one point, because I was a little confused myself. Now, hang on, which dance are we doing? And then, of course, it was the Argentine tango. And normally with Derek and his Argentine tango, it's very clear and precise what it is.
Right.
So the set was great. The dancing is executed amazing. I thought Bethany carried it off, but I would have liked to have seen from Derek a little bit more Argentine tango.
Interesting.
Because he is a star at anything he does like that. And he can flick and kick and turn and go. And the Argentine tango is that. It's little handheld here, gets very close in. It's quite a sensual dance. It's quite an in dance and closed, as where this was very open and out.
Yeah.
So that was just my thoughts.
I agree with you. It was very powerful. It was very like impact everything. And there were a couple of moments that I felt, and I don't know if that was done on purpose for the visual effect, because there were a couple of pieces that were, here comes another ronde, and here's another ronde, and here's another ronde. It was like a repetitive choreography, which also made me kind of like, okay, but I've seen just now that piece, and I just seen that, and they kept switching her, which I thought was fun, but it was almost like it didn't allow the story to happen, which is so important for Argentine tango, like you say, and that's why to have it a little bit more subtle and a little bit longer, maybe with a partner.
Well, it could be like that you're in a club or a dance studio or something, and there's these two males, and this young lady comes in, and the Argentine tango, and it's a bit like, well, do I want to dance with you, or do I want to dance with you?
Right.
Or it kind of missed that kind of in element, that personal, we're in our own little fishbowl, let's kind of close this hole in, as only us in the world, nobody else is watching.
Right.
So, although it was very, and I think he uses the choreography that she can do well.
Yes.
I, for me, would have just liked a little bit more closed in, and a bit more of what I know Derek's famous for, and that's the flicks and the kicks and the turns and the goes.
Right. But do you think that's also because of the music? The music choice that he was given? I mean, that was a very powerful song. That
it's
was
a powerful
not
song,
an
but when they
Argentine
throw
tango.
you a lemon, you make lemonade.
That is true.
And the idea of the song was it was Argentine tango.
Okay.
So, again, sticking to the rules, it's got to be one rule for one. And one rule for everybody else. So the idea was Argentine tango. If somebody else does it and doesn't put Argentine tango in, and they're not blonde and blue eyes, then they're gonna. And I love him. I love you, Derek. You know I do. You're my boy. You're my boy. But at the end of the day,
yes,
it's Argentine tango, and you're going to critique on that. And I get the power, and I get the you've progressed, and I get all that. But the title was Argentine tango.
Right.
All right. Well, we only have like 5 minutes left of this show, and there's another show coming in behind us, and we've got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to speed this up.
Let's do it.
9, 10, 10, 9, 38 on that. Sadie, Mark, Emma doing the foxtrot. I want to get your opinion on this, because this was stunning to watch in person.
Well, I cried. I love the music. I think that America would have loved the music. It was a popular piece of music. And I think that she did very well. It is very difficult to switch places. It's very difficult to dance with somebody else. And he did it quite intricately. 1 minute he was here and 1 minute he was there.
You even saw Emma getting confused
Clothing,
during the
everything. I thought she handled that probably her best, well, one of her best numbers. I think that she was just graceful. To me, she's just like Grace Kelly. She's just class personified.
Yeah.
She's a shiny diamond. I don't know what else to say.
And everything from the costuming to everything else was just just absolutely stunning.
She just looked like a professional. Like she matched Emma the whole time, and then the whole thing where she like make camera contact, like she's smart beyond her years, like way beyond her years.
It's very intuitive.
It's fascinating.
But it's sincere, you know.
Yes.
What you see is what you get in. That's just how she is. So.
Was she okay after the show? Because I know she was a little distraught.
She was a little bit distraught because I think she missed a small piece.
Yeah.
But what was what we're talking to Anna, what's important is that she managed to keep going. So she went and she had to do this twice. She missed a little piece. But when I played it back, it wasn't an over big mistake.
I didn't really even notice.
I had to watch it again to see like what their moment was, and I do want to say my boyfriend Tom Bergeron, they might not have noticed, is what he whispered to Sadie, and I thought that was great. Tom Bergeron is officially my boyfriend now. They got a perfect score of 40, so obviously the judges were not bothered by that.
No.
Yeah, and I just
Which
really,
was nice.
Considering all that Mark was up against, I mean, he really created a beautiful piece.
They deserve that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Janelle, Val, and Keo doing the salsa. I almost thought this felt like a freestyle.
Yes.
It was like African jazz, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved every
beautiful.
second of it.
Yeah,
I love the music.
And could have been done on a freestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean for him outside the box. That's unusual for him. Normally it's like the strict dancing, but I loved it. Another great number.
And I love that we got to see more of what Keo's capable of. He's a really dynamic dancer.
And she has progressed beyond anything. I wasn't the biggest fan of hers throughout the whole show, but I'm such a fan now. I think she's fabulous.
Another one that's steadily climbing, which is really nice. They were adjusting her hair quite a bit during the commercial break. They were like bobby pinning it, so I think they were afraid it was going to all on her face. There was 10-9, 10-10. It was Len that was like, I needed a little more salsa content.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Something. It was such a big production that maybe could have been a bit more.
Salsa
but
here
very
and
entertaining. I'm sure America will have enjoyed that.
Excellent.
Exactly.
We don't want to
Family
wrap.
show.
Yeah, we don't want to wrap up this show without talking about Mark's music, because I know it's been a big push this year. I interviewed him on it was National Dance Day about it, so it's kind of fun at Universal Studios.
Well, he had his song out to National Dance Day of Get My Name. It went to number 24 on iTunes.
Wow.
And then he released the song Miss Incredible about all the amazing women that are all around the world, the mums in America. You're all incredible, the young girls. And it was a song dedicated to women, so please download that. And then his new EP, Kicking Clouds. Every download he gets a little tick. So any mum out there that's got children in the entertainment field, if you can download Kicking Clouds and have a little listen. But please listen to the song Why. And it's kind of special a little bit to my heart, and just let me know on my news feeds what you thought of that particular song. So I'm not going to say any more about that song. It's the most beautiful song I think he's ever written, along with some of his other things. But if you can download that Kicking Clouds and give that child a little bit of a boost along, because that's his passion. He loves dancing, but his music is his passion. So
I love to hear that. And he plays a lot here in Los Angeles too.
All the time, yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
So if you're in Los Angeles, be sure to try and check out his show. Shirley, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a pleasure having you. Every season you come on, the fans adore you.
I've enjoyed it, and I thank everybody who stays on my Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all those things, and all the nice comments, and some of the mums out there. We had blogging and helping get over some of those bad marks, and I appreciate that. One mum to another. Thank you.
Well, tell all the fans where they can find you if they're not following you on Twitter or anything else like that yet.
I never know that, but I am Shirley Annette Ballas on Twitter, I believe, and Shirley Ballas on Instagram, and Shirley Ballas Facebook. So, and I like to take mummies on my Facebook, because right now I'm doing a weight loss challenge, so I like to bring in the mummies. So anybody out there, send me a private message who'd like to join the Facebook.
Oh, I love that. Suri, where can we find you?
At Suri Serano, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
On the hot seat, Jake Dupree.
On Instagram at Jake Dupree, and on Twitter at Jake_Dupree.
Anna.
On Twitter, Trebunskaya on Instagram, Anna Trebunskaya on Facebook and the website.
And I'm at Kristyn Burtt on Twitter and the Kristyn Burtt on Facebook and Instagram. Next week, Mandy Moore will be in the house. We're so excited to have her. First time here for Dancing with the Stars. She's been on So You Think with us. But we'll see you guys next week, Dancing with the Stars, here on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.